All right, we'd like to get started and welcome everyone out here that's in the chambers. Even you, Chief. Appreciate you being here. Those in TV land. I've asked Chris Thompson to give us an opening prayer.
Our Father in heaven, we are grateful that we could be gathered at this time for City Council. We're grateful for those who work for the city and lead the city and for the efforts that they make. We pray that Thou bless them to make good decisions and to be able to understand the needs of the city, and that we can move forward and accomplish great things into the future. We're so grateful for the freedoms that we enjoy in this great land and for those who protect them. We say this in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I've asked Councilman Gordon to lead us in the
Would
pledge.
the audience please rise and please repeat the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Let's go on to public comment. Is there anybody in the public that would like to come up and address the mayor and the council? See none. We'll go to council comments. Councilman Member Back.
Mayor, I don't have anything tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilman Scobes.
Mayor, I have nothing to report either.
Double thank you. Councilman Mendenhall.
Really quick, Mayor, I had a couple meetings today with the League of Cities and Towns, met for a pre-session meeting with President Adams, Stuart Adams of the Senate. Had a good discussion with him, and also a good discussion with the governor. Pre-session of what's slated for the legislative session that starts next week. We will be up there for local officials' day at the legislature as well, and we appreciate the coordination with all three branches, with the House, with the Senate, and with the governor's office to look to local government for what we can do to help, what we can collaborate on, and how we can get to the best outcome for our shared constituents. So we'll keep you posted on that, but that's really my only meeting that I've had since last council meeting.
Great. Councilman Gordon.
Mayor, had a meeting last week with the New Era group. New Era is the group that we're a member of through our garbage district, and got to go to Salt Lake at the city of Midvale to discuss. We've actually entered into some contract issues with the group that we contracted with to drill down into the landfill, take the gas out and flare it off and turn the gas into obviously electricity or whatever they want to do with it. And so that's taking up the lion's share of the New Era group. So we did that last week. Got our board meeting tomorrow where we will discuss options for compactor versus top load. We currently use a compactor system at our transfer station, and we want to make sure that we do it right with the new one that we're building by the jail. And so we're vetting all different options there, and also have a water quality board meeting tomorrow morning in Salt Lake that I'll report on in the next meeting. That's all I have.
Great. Councilman Harga.
I don't have anything right now, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to consent items.
Motion to approve the consent items.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Gordon, a second by Councilmember Beck. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Public hearing, ordinance 01-20, amend to development enhanced overlay zone.
Mayor asked that the council tonight continue this, including the public hearing, so that staff can meet with a potential applicant that would like to use this tool, the development enhancement overlay, on their property.
Great. We need a motion to do that, Junior?
If you're going to move it to a specific day, you need to, otherwise you'll have to renotice a public hearing, but if you don't mind that, then you don't.
When do they want it?
Continue to your February 4 meeting, that would be ideal for us.
Okay, so if you want to make a motion to do that.
I move we approve ordinance 120, or excuse me, I move to continue ordinance 120, public hearing amendments to the Development Enhancement Overlay Zone to our February 4th meeting.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Mendenhall, a second by Councilman Scobes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
New business, Resolution 2001, authorizing the mayor to enter into an interlocal agreement with Utah County to construct a trailhead on Poplar Lane.
Now that we are trading funding with UDOT so that we can run our projects through Mountain Lands Association and government, we need to have a contract in place to access this funding. The funds that will be used on the trailhead are Utah County funds, and so that funding will include Utah County so that we can get that trailhead constructed. Here's a little rendering of what it conceptually will look like. We'll get into the final design after this agreement is done.
Great. Any questions or comments for Chris? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I move we approve Resolution 20-01, authorizing the mayor to enter into an interlocal agreement with Utah County to construct a trailhead on Poplar Lane.
Second?
So we got a motion by Councilman Scobes, a second by Councilman Beck. And this is a roll call vote. So, Councilman Argyle.
Aye.
Councilmember Beck.
Aye.
Councilman Gordon.
Aye.
Councilman Mendenhall.
Aye.
Councilman Scobes.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. All Abilities Park AIA contracts.
As you know, our All Abilities Park is on a very accelerated schedule. With that, we've opted to go to a CMGC type of construction where the contractor comes on at between 30 and 60% design and really participates in the design process and hopefully starts work as early as possible to get the site ready and start building even before the final designs are done. We went through an RFP process on selection of a contractor, and this is the contract to select Westland Construction to do that work, and pins down some of the fees to do that, and it's all in a standard AIA contract, which is typical for the industry.
How many companies bid on that contract?
Three.
Three? Those are three.
So similar to the top of Center Street widening,
Yeah.
be there as well.
So we just need a motion to approve the contract. Okay. Any other questions? Not, I'd entertain a motion.
I move we approve the All Abilities Park AIA contracts.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Mendenhall, a second by Councilman Argyle. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, contracts for collection services. Take it away, Mr. Jordan.
It's always fun. So we put out their collection services out to bid a couple months ago. So I just wanted to help you understand a little bit about collection services. So we have about $100,000 in unpaid utility accounts, and we have some other ones every once in a while that we are unable to collect on, that we send to collections each year. Most of these won't get paid. Maybe anywhere from 60 to 80% won't be paid, and then we'll just write them off. And that's even with these collections companies doing what they can as far as trying to garnish wages and do different things that way. State law does allow us to add a fee on top of the unpaid balance to offset the fee that we have to pay the collection company. So that fee can be up to 40% of the unpaid account balance. So standard practice in the industry is that most collection agencies keep a percentage of the total after the fees added on. So on the slide here, you can see that if a company adds a $22 to $100 unpaid account, they'll keep 22% of the $122, not just the $22. So what that means to the city is that they're only getting $95.16 on that $100 unpaid account. So here are the different bidders, different companies that we had bid. You can see where they're located and the references that they provided. You can see that some of them have a lot of local government clients. And then you can see the fee that they're going to keep. So Bonneville is the lowest at 18%, and they were the lowest when we bid this out 4 years ago. To be honest, Bonneville's recovery rate has not been good. They're only 18.6%, and we've not been satisfied with that. So Mountain Land, who we have used prior to Bonneville, their recovery rate for us in the past has been nearly 21%. So even though their fees are higher, because they're recovering more, that offsets the higher fee that they're charging. So the city still nets more than if we would go with Bonneville. We narrowed it down to Mountain Land and the Charrington firm. They both had really good references, and their fees were relatively low as well. So we interviewed both of these firms. They both have a lot of experience in this field, working with local governments for decades. Both very impressive that way. They do have very different fee models, which I'll get into here in a second. And when we interviewed them, they both said that they'd be willing to change their fee model, but we didn't feel good about, kind of, in a sense, allowing them to alter their bid after they'd already submitted it. They said, well, by the way, we can also do it this way. But we didn't love that idea. So here's the different models that they have. So assume you have a $100 utility bill that's not paid. With Mountain Land, we'd add a $22 collection fee to it. So then the customer is on the hook for $122. Assuming that Mountain Land collects the full $122, they're going to keep 22% of that, which comes to $26.84. So the amount returned to the city becomes $95.16. With the Charrington firm, their model's a little bit different. They are going to add the full 40% allowable under state law, but they're only going to keep that fee amount that they add on. They're only going to keep the $40, which is 28.57%. 40 out of the 140 comes there. So even though they're adding a 40% fee on, they're only keeping 28.57% of that. You can see in effect what happens is with Mountain Land, you're getting $95.16, but you're only having to bill the customer $122. With Charrington firm, you're getting the full $100, but you're having to add $40 to the bill instead. So there's pluses and minuses to both sides. So you got to decide what's more important to you. Is it more important to get the full principal back, or is it more important that you don't bill the extra $18 to the customer? My recommendation is that we go with Mountain Land. Even after they lost our service 4 years ago, they still would show up every month with a check from prior accounts that we'd sent them before that. They do have a lower fee, and I feel like that it's better to add on a smaller fee for those customers that were unable to pay their bill, even though it's going to mean a little bit less money in the city's pocketbook. And they do have a lot of good references as well. But any questions about this?
So your first slide, you said it was about $100,000 a year,
Yeah, so
and we roughly only collect $60,000.
no, only about
40.
20,000 right now. So Bonneville was at 18.6%, I think it was. So you're looking at $18,600 that you're collecting to have that 100,000.
I think hearing those numbers, I'm less less sympathetic to those that leave us high and dry. I see your understanding with the 22%, that it's a lower fee added, but if these people are already stiffing the city. I'd be curious to know what, like, a Questar does, for example. Like, what are their numbers, you know?
Right. So one thing you can't do is you can't add on more than what the collection company is going to charge you. So if the collection company is charging you $30, you're not going to add $40 on, because you're not going to try and do something to get you more than the principal that originally was owed to you.
So I guess what I'm saying is quick math, roughly 20 grand. There's not a huge difference between the two in terms of for every $5 for every 1,000, if you will. We're not even talking about maybe $1,000. You know what I'm saying? Between the two. So if your preference is to work with
Mountainland's been around 21%, so they're going to collect you about $21,000 a year, where Bonneville was at 18%, you know, they're collecting you $18,000 a year. So you're not talking about huge dollar amount either way. So I bid it out for 3 years, so once we sign a contract with the company, we're locked in for those 3 years, and then we can change after that.
Are there known practices to get to, I mean, there just seems like a huge amount of money that you just write off, if you will.
Right. It's tricky. So one of the things in sitting down in the interview, one of the things that they mentioned is that it's really important to get good information when you're having customers sign up. And I feel like we do a good job of that. We're getting Social Security numbers, we're getting employer contact information, we're getting emergency contact information, and all of that, more information you can gather there, allows the collection company to do a better job collecting. But you are still going to have bankruptcies, you're going to have deaths, you're going to have some of those things that are unavoidable.
Maybe if we go any further, my daughter works for one of these companies. Do I have to declare that since I don't vote or won't be voting in that? And I'm not going to say which one until you tell me.
You don't get any benefit from what she does.
Right. Okay.
So, no.
Okay.
I do, so I'll recuse myself as being the insurance provider for one of the two firms, so I'll recuse myself in the vote.
The mayor might vote.
I'm friends with one. Does that matter? Okay. Just want to make sure. This is tough. I'm right on the fence with this one.
And and that's why I wanted to show you the different models, because there's benefits to both sides of it. It's not black and white.
No, it's not.
To be honest, I prefer the Charrington model that does leave the city, but I know Mountain Land, have experience with them.
Right. Well, and that's what we were just discussing. I like the Charrington because the city needs to be made whole. Otherwise, with the Mountain Land, okay, so there's $95.16 that comes back to the city.
Right.
Who absorbs that? Is that the rest of us taxpayers ultimately that absorb that?
Right.
In which case, it makes more sense for the city to be made whole with receiving the $100. At the same time, you're trying to get blood from a turnip, because these are people that, in some, not all, but in some cases, physically, they just simply they don't have the funds, and so whether it's Mountain Land's fee or Charrington's fee, they simply can't pay, and so yeah, that was what we were discussing.
We joked about whether or not you're trying to protect the 99 or you're trying to protect the one, because in one case it's better for that customer if you don't add $40 to the bill, you only add $22, but in the other case the city's then on the hook for...
Right. Is there any information as far as I guess you kind of have that, and maybe that's business practices, but if there's a lesser fee, it seems to me that more people would be willing to pay that off versus the higher fee. They just push that off, or...
I think that's a good assumption. I can't verify that in any way.
No, because clearly Mountain Land has the lower fee, but doesn't pull in, or no, it was Bonneville that didn't pull in quite as much.
Right.
So...
It's a little bit difficult because we're looking at it from the government perspective of how much does that fall on the rest of us that are paying, but in the business sense, it's a receivable, and so when you collect receivables, you factor in your uncollected
loss, right.
right, and say, okay, let's make sure everybody else that's paying their bill, pays a little bit more than what's exactly due, because we know we're going to have loss in our, uncollectible receivables.
I think it gets built into the rate that, and one thing that is good is our write-offs have been trending down, even though our bills are going up, with the inflation. So that's good that we're still seeing write-offs trending down.
Jordan, can you tell us how that number, the rough 100,000, has changed over the last 5 to 10 years?
So I got hired by the city in 2010, and I know at that point, if you look at the write-offs were around 150,000 each year.
We're getting better, right?
So we are getting better, and we don't know if it's due. I'm sure it's due to several factors, but part of it was the Great Recession. Coming out of that, there was a lot of write-offs, and we wait like 3 years before we write them off. We give it a few years before we assume we're not going to be able to collect. So part of it is the economy improving, but one of the things we've also done is encourage customers to sign up for ACH autopay, so then they're not forgetting to pay, and it's pulling right out of their bank account, which makes it so our late fees are going down, our shutoffs are going down. All of that, we're doing a really good job of collecting because of ACH autopay. Simplifies it.
Again, perspective, what's the 100,000 in a...
We're billing maybe around 45 million total utility bills. So, I mean, yeah, it's less than 0.5%.
Sounds like a lot of money. It's not a lot of money.
Compared to that 48 million.
Is ours higher because we have cable and internet?
Yeah, so our average utility bill is going to be about $300 if you go to Mapleton or Payson or something where they're not. So I think Mapleton doesn't offer power. They definitely don't offer cable, internet, and phone. We're offering, the whole gamut. So there's not very many cities that are going to have a utility bill like ours.
Yeah.
We try to help residents understand that our bill, but that's also going to lead to a larger write-offs that way. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? If not, need a motion.
Motion to approve contract for collection services recommended by Jared.
Got a motion by Councilman Argal. Well, he's recommended, though.
I would say the Charrington firm, so I'm going to say no to, or disagree with that.
You can make a substitute motion. Well, yeah, there's a motion on the table. So
I need a second on going with Mountain Land. If there's no second, then that dies. I'd entertain another motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the Charrington firm. Sorry, I can't get to my screen, so maybe you should make it so you're saying the right words.
Okay, well, that works. I've got a motion for the collection service, the Charrington, by Councilmember Beck. Is there a second?
Second.
I got a motion, a second by Councilman Scobes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I recused myself.
He recused, so apparently it's the Charrington.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
All right,
Thank
there
you,
you go.
Jordan.
All right, that was a tough one. Okay. All right, way to bring a lot of drama to us, Jordan. Okay, board appointments. I would like to appoint John Waters to the Tech Committee of the South Utah Valley Municipal Water Association. Also to the Senior Citizen Board, Maureen Rindlisbacher. To the Library Board, Amy Bird, second term. For the Parks and Recreation Committee, reappoint Doug Brown and J. Ryan Nielsen.
I move we approve the mayor's board appointments.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Mendenhall, a second by Councilman Gordon. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
for Gordo.
I move we go into closed session for reasonably imminent litigation and land transaction.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Gordon, a second by Councilman Mendenhall. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. That was a good, quick one.
Wow, that was.
Nice one to come to.